If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. Let's talk today about a phenomenon that happens on a very common level when you're dealing with someone who's on that narcissistic spectrum. And that's simply this. How many times have you been in the presence of that narcissistic person, whether it's inside your home or extended family or social life or work, wherever, and you begin thinking, I'm just spinning my wheels as I try to tell them who I am or what I think or what my perceptions are. And you feel very not noticed or very invalidated. And so you even go into an extra overdrive when you think, well, okay, I'll try to explain it now from this angle, or I'll say this, and maybe they'll understand now, or I'll appeal to history, or I'll appeal to what somebody else said, and maybe they'll know me and understand me. And the more you try to explain yourself and say, look at me, notice who I am, notice what I think, it's like in their mind, it's like, nope, the lights are turned off. I do not recognize you. I do not recognize your legitimacy. I don't see you and I don't want to see you. That's how narcissists will look at you. Now, you can appeal to your logic. You can appeal to their sense of compassion. You can appeal to a sense of fair play, or you can appeal to the rules. Come on, notice who I am. And consistently, you'll get the message. It's like, no, as far as I'm concerned, I do not see your validity. I do not see whatever reasoning you are trying to put in front of me as having any kind of pertinence to my world. I don't see any kind of mitigating circumstances that you're trying to make me aware of. All of that is just a nuisance to me. You are a nuisance to me. Therefore, they declare you as null and void, and they absolutely cannot see who you are. Now, it's going to be very important for you to understand what's going on here so that you don't get pulled under and you wind up being so completely dysregulated that you lose yourself. There are various core truths that I want you to remember about who you're dealing with when that narcissist comes at you with this I don't see you mentality. First and foremost, we're just going to recognize that narcissists, by definition, are predisposed to see only what they want to see. Your sole purpose in their world is to provide them narcissistic supply. And so as long as you do that, they're fine with you. You know, you tell them how smart they are, you go along with them, you let them be in control. But then when you come along and say, well, there's more going on there, it's like, that's not in my equation. I have an agenda here, and what you're trying to ask me to consider is not on my agenda. And so they just stick with that, and they expect you to go along with that. That's how they think. That's the kind of mindset they bring with them. That then leads to another, just a real basic thought, and that is, in the narcissist's mind, when you try to show your distinctive, you're just making noise. That's all that you represent. You're a nuisance. You're somebody who's in their way. You're a bother. And when we talk about narcissists having a sense of self-absorption, this is what we're talking about. When you say, include me, include my thoughts, include my feelings, it's like, how many times do I have to tell you? No, I don't include you. I don't see you. I don't acknowledge anything about you that's legitimate on that kind of level. Another core truth for you to remember is you were, you are, and you always will be someone to be used. They don't have a heart connection. They don't have a mind connection with you. They just see you as a transaction. And as long as they're able to use you and you're able to be utile to them, then they'll keep hanging around with you. But that's all you are. And I know that you may be the kind of person that says, well, I want to get to know each other on a personal level. And when they illustrate, well, I don't want to see you, it's their way of saying, no, I don't do that. That's not a priority of mine. You see, their yearning for power, which is what they're all about, completely cancels their ability to be empathetic. Narcissists are power hungry. And when I say power hungry, they want to have the final word. They want to be in total control. They're driven by fear. They're driven by aggression. And those are unfinished emotions on the inside of them. And the way that they deal with their fear and aggression and all the rest, guilt and shame, is by overpowering you. Somehow they think that that makes it all right and that makes their inner tension go away, when in fact, no, all it does is it just makes you a nobody. And in their mind, it's like, no, good enough for me. They cannot see you because they don't see themselves accurately. They're trying to cover up their own sense of incompetence. They're trying to cover up their inadequacies with respect to maneuvering through complexity. And part of it then means that, or part of their equation is they will diminish you in the process. They live inside their own self-constructed alternate reality. There's kind of a math, a psychological math, if you will, that narcissists will use. They have this notion that says, well, if I build myself up and diminish you, then that equals me being a somebody. So your diminished distinction equals their elevated distinction. And it's like, that's really lousy math, if you will. But they're so insecure regarding their own self-worth that this is their way of trying to compensate for that. And you exist to remind them that they're somebody, which means you have to be a nobody in the way that they think. Narcissists learned a long time ago that it was not safe at all to reveal their own true self. They were ashamed of their own true self. It's like if they have to admit that they have different thoughts or feelings or hurts or needs, then somehow that's going to get them in trouble. So when you come along and say, well, why don't you acknowledge my unique thoughts and needs and feelings and all the rest? It's like, oh no, that's not something I know how to do. I don't admit my true self, and I sure don't want to get inside and find out about your true self. And so when they don't see you, it's merely a commentary about their own inadequacy and their own inability to see themselves. You are an inconvenient reminder that they have a lot of unfinished business that they have to come to terms with. You know, things like you have to learn how to get along with people. It's like, no, I don't know how to do that. All I know how to do is just diminish people. That's my coping mechanism. And so your request to be seen by them is basically you saying, why don't we use some analytical thinking here? Why don't we do a little reflective thinking with each other? And I think maybe we can get to a meeting of the minds where we both can gain by that. And when you find yourself consistently spinning your wheels and saying, well, maybe if I try this approach, or maybe if I say that, they're going to remind you over and over, no, I don't do that. I don't see you because I don't see me accurately. You can say as many times as you want, notice me, pay attention to me, include me, work with me. You can say that as many times as you want, and it doesn't get through. Now, there's a little thing that I want you to be aware of, and I'm going to say this in a way that it's not exactly what's in their minds, but the theme is, when you imply to the narcissist, I want to be seen, subconsciously, they're over there thinking, once upon a time, there was a little prince, or there was a little princess who could do no wrong. And that's how they think. They want to think of themselves as that idealized person who is the standard bearer, and you come along and say, but there's so much else for you to acknowledge. And you're bursting their bubble, plain and simple. That's what it is. And so when you see that you're spinning your wheels, they don't acknowledge you, they don't see you or understand you, I'm hoping eventually you can conclude, okay, I've got it. You're trying to live inside your little fairy tale world, but you know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and take that as a compliment that I don't fit inside your alternate reality. And then you make your decisions about who you're going to be according to that. So I hope that videos such as this can give you some good insight with respect to what you're dealing with and what you're up against. Narcissists don't see you because they don't see themselves well at all. You notice we lost Gus. Actually, he's right over here stretching behind me. Gus and I will keep more videos coming along. If you've not already hit the subscribe button, I would encourage you to do that, the notification bell that goes with it. I know that many times you can think, I could use some help. I could use a therapist that will help me unpack this. I'm so pleased to be sponsored by the good people at BetterHelp.com. We have a link below that will take you to their website. There's an entire team of licensed professional therapists, and if that's something you could utilize, I would strongly encourage you to go in that direction. In addition, I have my Therapeutic Courses. And inside each course are multiple videos and teaching documents and guided questions. And they're meant to go into all sorts of different kind of topics. I have the Ready, Set, Connect about making good connection skills. This is me about establishing boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite the controllers. I have my books. We have my podcast. We have our website with many articles on that. So there's lots of resources, and I appreciate you allowing me to be on the journey with you. Okay, so when you complain within yourself, I just don't feel seen, I don't feel validated, know that it's not about you, it's so much about their unfinished business, and don't make it a referendum about who you are. I'm hoping that as you have this kind of objectivity, it can take you to a place of steadiness, and then ultimately you would be able, despite the narcissist not seeing you, you would be able to find your own place of peace.